I lost you and then you came back.
Yeah, I started recording.
Oh, Rick is recording. Oh, okay. Rick is a jerk. Hi, buddy.
Oh, that's a bit better. Okay, so hello, Dave. How are you? Long time no see.
Hey, Rick. How's it going? Yeah, it's been a hot minute, as they say out here. How you doing?
Good. Nice cat.
Thanks. Thanks for keeping it clean.
So, what should we talk about? It's only been about, I think last time I checked the YouTube channel, it's been about, I don't know, 3 years or something.
3.5 years, yeah. Well, we spoke last in February, and that episode is just being released now. A lot has been going on. When last we spoke, if you remember, we were just kind of talking about what we were doing, and you were talking about Korean dramas and about subtitles, and you were talking about some theoretical concepts for learning things, and we had some different goals back then, and things.
So this is on the podcast, though. On the YouTube channel, I think the last thing we talked about was, I don't know, dinosaur hunting or something like that.
Oh God, I don't even remember that. Yeah, we've taken.
Well, I had a beard.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm a pretty butterfly. I have video footage of you all bearded up saying that. It's beautiful. So. Yeah, no, we haven't done many video chats in ages. So it's nice. It's good to see your mug. It's good to see your linguistic.
You got a nice mug there too. What's that?
Thank you. Oh, it's a product placement I shouldn't even be putting online. So,
right.
But it's the biggest cup I have. So
yeah, well, that's okay. They can feel free to sponsor us because nobody else is.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody else is that stupid.
Exactly. I wouldn't sponsor us.
Oh, well,
no. All right. So how's yeah.
No, I just wanted to interrupt you.
Okay. chicken marsupial. Actually, I thought of you the other day because I was texting a friend, and we have a puppy. We got a puppy shortly after we recorded our last episode for the podcast.
That's a funny looking puppy.
It is, yeah.
It's just like a cat.
It is a cat. It was wearing a puppy outfit and tricked us all. No, but I was dictating a text to a friend, and the puppy was barking and trying to jump on me. So I was like, "No, Ronnie, down, Ronnie, tummy," because we have a command where he rolls on his back and exposes his tummy, and all of that got picked up in the text message. and I thought, well, I'm just going to leave it in the text message.
Didn't your ex-girlfriend used to do that?
Oh. She's our only listener, so
okay.
We don't want to piss her off. So, but anyway, it reminded me of the times where we would be at the polyglot gathering, and I would try and dictate a text message to someone, and you would run up and shout chicken marsupial, and of course then it would pick up on my text message, and I had to delete the whole thing. So, so you're always in my thoughts, Rick.
Yeah, always good fun. So yeah, we normally talk about the polyglot gathering on this channel, but there hasn't been any for a couple of years.
Yeah, well, virtual, but yeah.
Somebody was saying today about the big C, and I was thinking, well, that's cancer, isn't it? I'm like, no, COVID. I'm like, no, that's a small C, really.
Well, actually, it's COVID is all caps, so it's definitely big C, the other big C, I guess, yeah. So. But well, things in the States are, more people are getting vaccinated. It's still politically charged in many ways, but things are starting to open up for the most part, and things seem to be getting better.
Yeah, we had Freedom Day, quote unquote, recently. So, yeah, you don't have to wear a mask or anything. Lots of people still getting infected, but that's life.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about COVID anymore because I'm sick of it.
I hear you.
I've had enough. It's been 2 years. I've had enough. Park it. Move on. So are you learning any new lingos? Because I know you were doing. What were you doing last time we spoke? I think it was Indonesian or.
Yeah, right. Something like that. Indonesian was the big one. Right now, I am sort of in job limbo. I'm working, but my contract may end next June, and so after that, I'm kind of keeping my eyes open for other things. I'm starting to network again, but also considering at some point I do want to take a trip to Indonesia with my partner.
I
And
thought you were going to say Disneyland then.
Disneyland.
They're not sponsoring us either. But if they'd like to.
Yeah, Disneyland. Talk to us. So anyway, so that is kind of like my dream trip right now, and it looks like we might be able to take a trip next year if all else fails. And so I'm still working on the Indonesian. I've backed off a little bit, just because life stuff, with the puppy, the house. We're doing a lot of stuff with the house, and just kind of day-to-day things. But I'm keeping up the Indonesian, and I am because and this is actually inspiration from you and our other friends at the Polyglot Gathering. I am starting to really go all digital now, and that was a hard sell for me because I love buying things. I love buying my DVDs and CDs and all that, and especially with the DVDs with foreign language subtitles. Those are like my library of what I want to learn Kazakh. Then I have Avatar with Kazakh subtitles. So anyway, but what I'm realizing now is that a year from now I may have to get rid of a ton of stuff to make myself more comfortable. And so I'm finally going through all these DVDs that I bought down the line. They're these round circular things that old people watch movies on for
okay.
Yeah. And so I'm going through them, and I'm finding all the one. First of all, I'm working on Spanish. So I'm going through any that have Spanish subtitles, and I'm reading them and watching. And and I've decided it's easier to do subtitles first. And then,
Can I just interject here for a moment?
Well, you're going to anyway.
Yeah. So before you throw those away, you might want to consider doing a subs to SRS thing with them. So you change the subtitles into spaced repetition software. Incidentally, I have a series on my YouTube channel about how to do that. Yeah. I'm not actually plugging it because I don't mind, but I do sort of do a step-by-step, but it tells you how to rip the DVD into a digital file, and then you can just chuck the DVD in the bin. You're allowed to make a copy because it's yours, you own it. So that's, in most countries, it's legit. And I think yours is one of the where it's legit. It certainly is here. But then you can modify that to do subs to SRS, so that it will display the English. Well, you can prompt you in English, and it will display the Spanish or whatever you want, and it'll show a little photo of the clip of what's happening at that time, and then you have the audio as well. So, and it'll show you like the dialogue just before and the dialogue just after to give you some context. So it's really very good program, and it's something you can do on your phone, and you just every once in a while you stood in a queue or whatever for your COVID test, you can learn some Spanish.
Yeah, actually, I first learned about this from your I think it was one of your first gathering talks. It was I don't remember the official name, but I believe the nickname was Nerd Anki, right?
Yeah. Anki. Oh. No, Nerd Anki. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Thanks to Kirsten Cable. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to put all the effort into that, because right now what I'm using it for is basically creating a foundation of language. And what I'm finding is throughout a movie, I'm getting a lot of repetition there, and then I end up applying it to the next DVD and so on. But I've got so many DVDs. Doing it for all of them would probably be just time prohibitive. So I may actually try and do that with maybe a select few, maybe ones that have specific vocabulary, like The Big Short is a movie that talks all about finance and investing in the whole 2008 housing market crash. So things like that that have
not The Big Lebowski.
Oh wow, no, that I can't even imagine what kind of words would be in there. How do you translate the dude into Spanish?
Well, see, that would be interesting.
Yeah. So, but either way, yeah. I mean, the whole point of this is to go through the DVDs and get everything I can out of them, so I can chuck them down the line, and give them away, sell them, trade them, whatever. So, and some of them will be like Region 2 DVDs, so they'll have other languages on there. So those would be useful for other language learners down the line. So, Maybe if the gathering's going on next year, I can bring some of these and throw them on the resource table, the freebie table.
Well, the thing is, if you did get something like Handbrake, which is a Mac thing, I think you use Macs.
Yeah.
That'll rip the CDs for you onto file. I'm just thinking for you personally. Well, for me, I find this a lot easier than trying to find a DVD player, which I don't even think I've got one anymore. I might have one in the garage somewhere. But so I don't ever do, even if I buy a brand new DVD, I rip it so that I can watch it on like a computer or a thumb drive plugged into my television or whatever. So I don't have to like have the disc. So I got, because I don't have it, I don't even have a DVD player on my computer anymore. Like, well, I do have one. I do have one on the big PC thing upstairs to rip them off, but like for my laptop and things, it doesn't have any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I've got an external hard. Yeah, I have one DVD. Well, actually, we have three. We have two for the two TVs. One of which is a region-free player, so it'll play all of my DVDs, regardless of where they came from. And then the third is an external for my laptop. And so that comes in handy. Yeah. So anyway, so I've been trying to do that and just kind of really just reinforce my Spanish reading. And then
so why Spanish?
Because that is the one of the languages that I have the strongest foundation in, and I also have probably the most DVDs in that, because most DVDs I have are American ones, which usually only have Spanish, French, and maybe one or two other languages here or there. But by far, I have the most in Spanish, and so those are the ones I can get through the most quickly, and then get rid of them and make space. So especially DVDs that only have Spanish on them, because once I'm done with it, it's gone. The ones where I have like Spanish and Portuguese and Icelandic and German and Estonian, those are ones that are probably going to stick around a little longer, because I will return to those once I do any of those languages. So
weirdly, I'm doing something similar. Like I recently went through all my books, like actual physical books, mostly because my wife told me to tidy up the bloody bookshelves and get rid of all that crap, quote unquote. Yeah. So I dug out all of the French books that I have, and I have like 21 paperbacks in French, and I did the math, and it works out to over 7,000 pages of French reading. So that's my target, is to finish all those. And as I finish them, I give them away or chuck them or bin them or whatever. So that's the plan. And then I've got 16 or 18 Italian books. That's next on the list once I finish all those. But obviously 7,000 pages is going to take me a while to get through. But it's a pretty good exercise. And it helps because you don't look up the words as much. So sort of look it up from context. I sort of work it out, and if I really don't know, then I look it up in a dictionary. But if you're reading like on a Kindle or whatever, the fact that you can just touch it and it will get translated, makes it sort of a bit too convenient, because you don't actually spend a bit of time racking your brain. You probably would have remembered it if you'd have thought about it a bit more, but it's just too easy to go.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, the plan is to get through all of those and tidy up the bookshelf and get rid of all the stuff I'm not really using. So I've made room for more stuff that I can buy to not really use.
Oh, I know that feeling. Actually, I do want to point out that while you and I are doing similar things, yours is a lot more advanced for two reasons. First of all, because one, I'm still listening to the English audio and matching it up with the Spanish subtitles. And then step two for me down the line will be to listen to the Spanish audio on the DVDs without any English prompting. So there's that. That's a bit of a cheat. But also, with you are, for lack of a better word, literate. You are actually reading literature. You are reading writing styles, and although there may be conversation and dialogue, that's generally reading is generally a different style. Whereas reading subtitles of dialogue is more colloquial. It's more it's idiomatic. It's catchphrases, and it's just a different style. of the written word. So my stuff is, I think, more conversational, which I like because it teaches me how people say things.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of slang and a lot of loose translation that is accurate in the language, but it's not, it's not as proper as a lot of the stuff you're reading. And I've seen your posts on the forum, and it sounds like a lot of the stuff is rather advanced. So more power to you.
Yeah, and some of it's really boring.
Yeah,
because the thing with these books is I had people. I used to work for this French company, and used to say to people, "Well, bring me a book. If you're flying over, just grab me a book. And it's like, what book? And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. Anything old you got, or a secondhand shop, or just whatever. It doesn't matter. Just get me. I don't care. It just has to be in French. That was my only sort of criteria. So I wound up with loads of books that are like, these sort of classic books from 100, 200 years ago, and then some of these sort of modern books that are like, it's a bit. Anyway, most of it isn't things I would pick out. There's a fair few, like a couple of science fictions and some other stuff, but most of these, like, I wouldn't, if they were all in English, I probably wouldn't have picked them out. I wouldn't go say, oh, I'm going to read that. It's like, no. So yeah, some of it's a bit of a drag, but it's all grist for the mill. It helps you learn new words, and it doesn't help with pronunciation, but whereas a movie would. So I've been watching like Lupin on Netflix in French, but I use the subtitles as well, but the French subtitles. But they talk really fast, so yeah. So yeah, like oral comprehension is a bit of an issue for me because I still like people talk too damn fast.
Yeah, and that's why I've been starting with the subtitles, because that, again, I'm a stronger reader than a listener, and reading these words will help me learn vocabulary faster, because there's no way I can pick up half of what's being said in the foreign language that I'm not really solid in. So once I have the vocabulary, then next time around, if I hear it, I might recognize it. But if I'm listening the first time around, there's so much I'm never going to get. I'm never even going to be able to find the word boundaries in a fast sentence. So reading first for me will strengthen my core vocabulary, and then when I go back, then I can listen to things over and over again and go, oh, okay, I do know that word. And if there's stuff that I just can't figure out, then I'll have to take the next step to find out what it means, or learn from context and so on. Yeah.
Well, the one advantage of sort of reading and knowing a bit is I actually know when they're not saying what the subtitle says. Like, that's not what he said. Hang on. So that's always good when you get that feeling, when you're just like, hang on, he didn't say that. He's, kind of, but not. That's not exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Which is always, good, because you sort of, I know this.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good marker to kind of show you how far you've come. So actually, I want to go back to what you said about like just gathering books that are dry and boring, but they are in the language. I actually, that's another thing that I've slowly, over the past maybe year or so, started realizing that all these Hungarian books that I bought at used bookstores, because they're in Hungarian and such a rare find, are actually, they are kind of useless to me, because it's very advanced vocabulary. It's a written style which is not as close to conversation. Yeah, it's not very modern, and I found that at some point, like, these treasures that I found are now kind of just wasting my time and book space. And it goes back to the Ellen Joven nickname of a polyglutton, someone who collects as much as possible. So I'm finding that I've kind of hit the saturation point, and I really like, now these treasures are now an albatross around my neck, and look at them going, oh God, I'm gonna have to put this in a box and move it again. It's like, no, I'm done with that. So I'm really going through my language resources, other books that I bought, and just kind of doing a little bit of a purging. And it feels good. It feels good to kind of hone my collection and say, this is value. I will learn from this. This, not so much, and chuck it. And it really, I think, is helping me focus more on not just learning a language, but the best way for me to actually use the resources I have. And it feels kind of liberating. So I've books.
Are you giving these away?
Some of them, yeah.
You should give your address to random people on the internet.
Oh, like I don't already.
Well, no, on the forum we did a book swap section recently, so people can swap books, but it doesn't sound like you want to swap anything, because you're just trying to get rid of it.
I'm kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm actually more of just happy to have it go to a good home, and so I'll be selling used books. I'll be going to a used bookstore to sell some books down the line, bring things to whatever gathering I can. But yeah, I'm happy to.
There was a guy on there recently who basically gave away some books, and he just said, "I'll send it anywhere in the world. You just pay the postage." Like, yeah. So I don't want the books. I don't want the money for the books. I don't want to be out of pocket, as it were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's totally fair. So I maybe I'll do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. I'll reach out to the forum people.
Yeah, because there's loads of people that want to learn Hungarian and whatever else you got. It's one good thing about it. I mean, luckily, so because I'm doing French books, I don't have a problem. Like most of my neighbors will take them off me, or the charity shops around here, there's loads of French speakers, so it's not really a problem. Or there's always the bin.
See, I can't bring myself to throw away a good book, no matter how useless it is.
Oh, well, luckily, I've got a couple that are not good.
Okay. Fair enough.
And they deserve to die.
Well, and so you're in England. So do you have used bookstores? Do you have places that will buy books? Okay. Yeah. And then do you ever go to, is it Foyles?
I've been to Foyles a few times.
Yeah. I have to say I'm very impressed with their foreign language department. That's a place where even in my current state, I could go there and end up buying like 17 books. So
yeah, you don't want to be going there.
Yeah.
or Blackwell's bookstore in Oxford. You don't want to go there either, because that's as bad, if not worse. It's just a whole massive underground of books. It's like 3 stories, I think, but one of the basement is just massive. So I think they've basically sort of bought the basements of all of the houses around, sort of dug it out and made this massive book thing underneath it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel a relapse coming on.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why I'm kind of taking the shift, is because I'm not around bookstores that much. I mean, because a lot of the chains and independent bookstores have closed down. And I'm also at that saturation point, but it is really easy to go back to a huge bookstore and kind of revert to my old ways.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, here we have a lot of charity shops, so I mean, they're basically people give books to the charity and then they sell them on for a reduced price. So there's a lot of books. I get a lot of books that way.
Excellent. Yeah, we've got that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I wind up with even more books that I don't need or want. Or I just don't have time to read. Really, that's more likely the problem than anything else. Is I just don't have the time to read it. And this little mini challenge has forced me to try and get through them in a short amount of time, whereas normally I would read one and then it'd be another 6 months before I picked up another one, whereas now it's like one after the other, trying to get through them to chuck them out.
Yeah, no, that is it feels cleansing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's quite good. And then plus it's a bit of immersion, because I'm just more or less, at least for an hour or two every day, I'm just constantly reading French and encountering French words, and so that's useful, that's helpful. But other than that, I really haven't, for languages, other than I restarted Mandarin again, like just talking to this lady in China who sort of helps me out. But I left it for so long, I more or less forgot everything, which is a problem. And then the Korean, I sort of parked that because it was just, I still watch a load of Korean dramas, so I do pick things up, but I haven't actively studied it in any real way, with a book or anything. So I don't know. I'll see about that later. So that's pretty much it, really.
Well, I may come to you down the line, excuse me, for some Korean resources and suggestions, because depending on if this trip happens and how it happens, we may need a stopping point, and South Korea has just been added to the list. But anyway, places Vietnam and Myanmar and Thailand and India. So right now I know Indonesia would be like the main place. So that's where I'm focusing on now. And then as things come together, I'll be adding at least some conversational phrases, survival phrases if nothing else. But I really would love to get well versed in Indonesian. It's very easy to learn. The vocabulary is you can just pile on the vocabulary. The problems are that each vocabulary word, it can be a noun and a verb and an adjective, and so you really have to kind of know where to put it in the sentence and how to use it. But yeah, it's really easy for me to digest. So I'm really loving that, and I want to get through not just the physical. Excuse me, sorry. Furball. I really want to get through the physical resources that I have, but and I wanted to mention this before. Switching to digital is it's a double-edged sword, because I'm getting things that are easy to store. I can get a million books and not have them take up any physical space in my house. But what happens is then I get a million digital resources, and then they're all over the place on my computer, and I forget about them, and suddenly I have all these digital books that I'm never reading. So while I am making that, I do want to be mindful of not just being a digital polyglot, I guess. So and right now I'm also going through. I'm making a note to like go through at least one, PDF book as I go through like 3 physical books. So and there's the free and legal challenge, and I have things that I'm not sure where I got them from, and I'm starting to question if they were ever legal. A lot of things I'm getting are linguistic based that are through memberships, for journals that I have. So these things are like free resources that I can just download anytime. But I find that I'm fascinated by them, by the idea of having them, and I really don't know if I want to read them. So
sometimes the actual struggle of actually using it is a bit more than the nicety of having it. There's a thing called Calibra you should look into, which is it does everything. It's the super bloody jackknife of all Swiss Army knife of everything ebook related. It'll convert between formats. It'll do all sorts of stuff. But the thing I use it for, other than converting back and forth, is you can set it up on your machine as a server, and you tell it what folder all of your books are in, and it will basically search them all and create titles and tag them and all that, and then I can access them from like my tablet or my phone or whatever. So I can, in my house, in my local network, I finish a digital book, I can just click on my library, because it basically creates an electronic library, and then I just pick the book I want. It has search facilities, and so I can search by author name or topic or any of the tags, because it's in this, it did it with this program. And then then I just download it onto my tablet and start reading. So happy days. So, and that works. That works really well. So I just mention it because if you want to organize it, that will organize it all for you. And you can have more than one folder, but generally it just lumps everything into its own library, and then it breaks it down into authors and languages, and it segregates it into all these various categories. So if you want to look for a French book and it's Jules Verne, then it's easy to find, and it'll show you the list of them, and you pick the ones you want, and off you go. So cool. It's really good.
Yeah, it's called Calibri.
Calibri, yeah. Calibra, Libri. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Okay.
Anyway, Google is your friend.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure you'll put that in the show notes.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, please.
I don't want to make it too easy for people.
Oh man. So what about you? What else is on your agenda? I guess what is your plan between now and the next time we meet in 7 years?
Well, hopefully you'll have forgotten me by then. All
the therapy in the world,
Yeah, that or that restraining order will take effect. But anyway, no, well, the plan is, I think, I started to learn Korean because my wife and I are thinking about going to South Korea for a visit, So I was just going to do a bit of holiday Korean, as it were, enough to get by. But it is quite an intriguing language, so now I've got sort of hooked, which is a bit of a problem, really. So this is an issue. Like, oh yeah, that looks good, and then you just into the deep weeds you go.
Oh yeah.
So what I do want to try and learn a bit of sort of holiday Korean. I want to try and get more Mandarin going, and it would be nice to actually sort of get to a C1 or C2 in French and Italian. But then I would have to pay for a test, so I don't know if
Yeah. Well, where do you think you are now with French and Italian?
Oh, well, weirdly, recently I took a French test. There's a department of in the U.S. the Department of Defense Language Institute has some online testing you can take for loads of different languages, which the troops take. But you can participate, and they were I don't remember which university designed the tests or whatever, but they are on a different scale. They use IRA or RRS or
yeah, I forget. Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, it goes like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus blah, 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 4 5 6. It's not ABC like the European one. Yeah. Anyway, I scored like a 3 plus in French reading, which is apparently almost a C1 in. But that was before I started reading. I think if I did it again now, I would get better, because I've just finished like 11 French books, So
yeah.
I think I'm probably better at it now than I was when I took the test. So. But when I finish all 21 books, I think I'll go back and take the test again. The problem is, though, it's quite a hard test. It takes about an hour and a half. Like it doesn't. The way it works is it starts giving you the test, and if you pass it, it'll give you a more difficult test. And every time you pass it, it just get more difficult. It just doesn't stop. You know what I mean? And the test goes longer and longer and longer. So the better you are at it, the longer you'll be there. If you really don't know anything, the test is about 2 minutes. Yep, you're out. Mm-hmm. But if you do know and you keep answering correct questions, then it just gets harder and harder and harder. So I think it took me like an hour and 10 minutes or something to finish, like 68 minutes, because it times your testing as well. But I didn't get it. Wouldn't put me up. It wouldn't try me the next level because I sort of failed at that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think if you managed to get all the way through, it would probably take you about 2 hours to do the test.
Oh wow.
Because it gets progressively more difficult as you go. Anyway, we'll see. I'm not really worried about the scoring or the examination or any of that. I just want to be able to go and interact and talk to people without difficulty. That's the sort of trigger. I mean, I can kind of do that now. Like I have conversations with French people every week, and Italians. It's not really a big deal. There's occasional, well, how do you say blah, or what's the word for blah? Other than that, it's generally you just have a conversation. It's not a problem. I could probably get by living in France. I don't seriously have a problem, but it's not easy. Do you know what I mean? Like I have to think about it, and like if I had to have I can have a conversation for about a half an hour, no problem. But if I had to do it for like 16 hours a day, every day, I'd start to get a bit of a headache there. So yeah, it's so the ideal would be to do it as easily as I do English. Talk rubbish just as easy in French as I talk rubbish in English. So,
well, you did a video not too long ago on your own YouTube channel where you do some kind of randomized subject matter.
Yeah.
and then you speak on it for however long. And I couldn't tell you if you were
Well,
being
yeah,
legit or
it's a sort of an exercise I do, which I was trying to show people, but I really picked a bad. What I did at the time was I picked a website I hadn't really used before, which was a bad idea. But generally, there's you go to a place that does randomized questions, right? And there are a number of these websites. They'll just give you random questions. A random question generator is what you want to look for on the internet. So you find one of these, and it'll generate a random question. And it doesn't matter if the question's in English, but you try and respond in the language that you want. So if you were doing Spanish, for example, you try and respond to the question. If the question is, how do you feel about meteorites? I don't know. But it prompts you for something that you weren't really thinking about and you haven't prepared for. So there's no way you could have prepared yourself for it. And it's impromptu and you just have to ad-lib it, And what helps there, for me anyway, is that I immediately start to identify words I don't know. Like, I don't know the word for meteorite in Spanish, and I probably never will. And I don't think I even know it in French or Italian. So I'd start writing that down, like, well, I don't know that word, and I don't know how to describe this one. But I'd try to respond. I wouldn't write anything down right then. I would try and respond, and then just remember the words that I'm not knowing, and it starts to spot gaps. You start to easily pick up gaps in your knowledge because you can't explain your thoughts regarding this question, and it's it becomes like, wow, crap. Why don't I know the word for meteorite? Why not? Because it didn't come up in Assamil,
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Or and the Pimsleur,
seldom are you going to get those words. Although I'm finding that with the range of DVDs that I have, I'm watching I've watched a number of the Terminator movies, and so cybernetic organism comes up a lot, and and so you do get this kind of obscure vocabulary, and you kind of realize, oh, okay, there is a way to say that in Spanish, I'm sure if I keep watching enough movies, I'll come across the word meteorite at some point. I'm sure one of the movies I have talks about that. So even though I may have already seen it and said, hey, oh look, there's the word for meteorite, and quickly forgotten it because I'm not right now. I'm not doing this to write down every word that I don't know, that I don't recognize in the subtitles, but just becoming familiar with it really does. It has been waking up my brain, and so while I can't repeat every obscure term, I do know that it's there, and then when I see it next time, it'll reinforce it. I'll recognize it. I'll be watching Star Wars movies, with Spanish subtitles soon. Those are the DVDs I'm keeping, so they're not in such a rush to be viewed and tossed. But I am finding that every once in a while a word in English comes up in the dialogue, and I'm like, I almost never use that in my normal conversational speech, but it's like, hey, but I recognize it now. I recognize the word in Spanish. So when I see it again, that'll help. So it is helpful, not just saying the same things that I can already say, like hello, how are you? Where's the bathroom? But it's great seeing dialogue, like real life dialogue covering a wide range of topics, and it's really, I feel like I'm getting that expansion of vocabulary, even if I'm not making flashcards and studying it just yet.
Weirdly, that happened to me recently. When you're saying like words because for me it's like, I'm sure I've seen that before. Where have I seen this before? And it was one of the books I was reading, and then somebody was saying boring, boring, boring. I was actually reading a review of the book, not in the book itself. And I thought, why somebody said that? Chantin. I was like, what is that? And then I remembered I saw it in a movie or in a television series called I don't know what it was, Spy Corps, whatever. Anyway, it was some French sort of superhero movie, but it was a really twisted sort of anyway. Oh, Hero Corps, that's it, Hero Corps. Anyway, but I'd seen, because these two guys were fighting in this pub, and the other guy comes in and he's going, boring, boring, boring. Let's go. And he drags the guy away. He's like, yeah, you're fine. That's boring. Let's go. Come on. But when I was reading it, I was like, I'm sure I've seen that before. So yeah, it does sort of trigger. You see. We've talked about meteorite now, and pretty soon you'll encounter that word. It's like when you buy a new red car. Every car you see is red.
Yeah.
But it's just because your brain is now flipped on the scan for that switch, and the next time meteorite comes up, you're gonna be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. We around here we call that the plate of shrimp principle, because and I think this comes from Repo Man, but where you're at a party and you see a plate of shrimp, and then suddenly everything after that you're talking about plates and shrimp, and someone you hear someone mention shrimp, or the next day you'll see plates of shrimp everywhere, and it's and exactly. I mean, I remember when I learned the word umsonst, which means in vain or for free in German. I'm like, I've never heard that word before. At least I didn't think I had. And then I swear, the next day suddenly it was like umsonst this and umsonst that, and I was like, now it's on my radar. So so it's just a little just having that little exposure then suddenly makes you so much more aware of it down the line.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That was the reason I went that YouTube video I did for the gap analysis, basically, because you will start to see that word because it's like, I've forgotten. I don't know this word. So you look it up, and then the next day or the day after, that will pop up somewhere on some TV you're watching or something you're reading or whatever. But the thing is, you have to be watching or reading something in that language or it'll never pop up. So you have to be doing stuff every day. If you want to see it again, you got to be doing something.
Exactly. You can't just be a one and done. Yeah. Well, and in Spanish, what I found fascinating is that I will see a Spanish word in the subtitles. And it's like, well, I think that means what he said in English, and I think I should have written this down for this, but I think it's the word for spit. But there's a word that was like etrusca or something in Spanish, and I looked it up and I saw the translation, but it also translates to another word that means something like spit. That is actually very similarly related, like Etrusca or Etruscus or something. I'm gonna go online. Let me know if I I don't know if I'm paused or anything on your screen. So you're gonna see me look up. Let's see. I think it's spit. I'll have to write this down for next time. Sputo. Oh no, we want Spanish. Here we go. So it is escupir. Maybe is that it? I don't know. I'll have to look
spit or saliva, that sort of thing.
Something like that, yeah. And it basically just learning the Spanish word introduced me to an English word that I'd never seen before.
Right.
And so you find out that these are actually kind of cognates. It's just that the word that is related to Spanish, the English word related to the Spanish word, is lesser used than something else. And because English is such a hodgepodge, we have so many words from other languages, and we kind of pick and choose which one is the main one. So, but yeah, anyway,
you get that in French all the time, like because I often have like conversations in French and French exchanges, and they're talking to me in English, and they're saying something, and then they're like, "Oh, the word in French is blah," and I'm like, yeah, same word. Same thing. Just carry on, keep going.
Yep. Well, there. I think it was a Michel Thomas French audio lesson that he just said, put ion on everything, like action or nation or something. Yeah. And then he just started like tacking that on to every word. It's like, and the students were like, oh, really? Wow. So, yeah, although I don't like Michelle. I didn't like Michelle Thomas. So
I'll tell you what, for the Michelle Thomas thing, who aren't sponsoring us, by the way, but if they were interested, no, the French one, it isn't Michelle Thomas who does it, but it's this thing called Vocabulary Builder, and it's like some English professor. I don't know what her name is, but it's her, and then they have two native French speakers, not. Like Michelle Thomas is teaching people who never spoke the language before, whereas this vocabulary builder is this person and two, a male and a female French speaker. Anyway, she does that a lot, and she goes through all of the sort of ones like like you're mentioning, like intention and for intention and all that sort of stuff. And so yeah, but that is amazing. That was a really, really good one. And because you're not listening to two learners, when they pronounce it, it's spoken as native, pronunciation. So you're not really. I think you get more out of it. Same method as Michel Thomas, because it's the Michel Thomas Institute that published this. It's just not him, and it's not learners. It's this woman and two native French speakers. So I would actually recommend that one rather than the original Michel Thomas for French. So if I was going to do that all again, I would do sort of Pimsleur French, and then do that one for Michel Thomas.
Okay.
Because you will have already, from the Pimsleur, got enough basic French to sort of, to build the vocabulary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. No, that's fantastic. Yeah. No, I didn't like the French one with Michel Thomas because again, the students didn't know as much, and he berated one of the students and yelled at them for "you're thinking, don't think, just speak." And it was just I found it really condescending. So, but I have heard good things about the latest iterations, and I think vocabulary was one. I think I hate to bring him up again, but Chris Broholm, I think he highly recommended the newer Michel Thomas Institute audio.
Oh, that fellow.
Yeah, but he's not sponsoring us either.
Yeah, he's not. But if he wants to,
yeah, we're here. Give us a call. Yeah. We'll have to have him on either the podcast or the video chat one of these days.
Yeah, as long as he's not drinking beer, we're all right.
He can drink beer from a distance.
Yeah. So. Oh, true. Yeah, but it won't affect me.
No.
So
now so all these languages that you're working on right now. So the French and I guess the Mandarin is still kind of. Are you past the point of using Pimsleur, the intro course, for any of these languages?
Well, no, probably not. Well, French and Italian, yeah, but so Korean I haven't really started in anger. I just watch a lot of dramas, and I've just picked up things. Are you okay, etc., etc. Just because I'm watching Korean dramas, or are you okay, Jenna? So I just sort of picked those things up. But for the Mandarin, I decided to park all of I was doing spoon-fed Chinese, and I had Hello Chinese and apt, and I had all of this stuff. And I decided to just park all of that, so I'm not doing any of that anymore. And I went back to the, what's the fellow's name? Boris Shacklehan. Do you remember that fellow with the little book?
Yeah.
How to Improve Your Languages or whatever?
Yeah.
Shackleman
or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But anyway, I decided I would just build up islands. So I decided what I was going to do was I was going to just work with my friend in China and just get her to help me do things like my name is, and I am learning Mandarin, and I live in England. I am American, but da 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 da. So and so she reads this out to me. It's written down in Pinyin, and it's written down in Chinese characters. So I'm trying to copy the Chinese characters so I can write what my name is, as well as say it with the correct tones and pronunciation and all that sort of stuff. And I've got a fair few sentences. I think I'm up to 14 now, fairly beefy sentences. And then I'm starting to play around with switching them around. So I can speak a little Mandarin. I can speak a little French. So I learned the word for French in Mandarin. So just trying to take the ones that I know and are already locked into my brain really well, because I've been doing this about 2 or 3 months now, and then trying to manipulate them and play with them. So I live in England, but, or I'm American, but, and then I'm trying to join the sentence together. So I've done that. So I've basically sort of wiped all the courses. I'm not doing any of the sort of SRS or the listening or any of that. I'm just concentrating on these things and just trying to build up slowly a set of things that I know really, really well that are related to me as well. So it's not, I'm not learning how to order, duck or something in a restaurant, and I don't eat duck. And so I'm learning how to say my name, my language goals, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, that's what I've done. So I've just sort of rolled it right back to the beginning, but I'm not using any of the courses and things that I used initially. I'm just focusing on getting a core of the language. I am, I have, I will, that sort of stuff. There you go. But that's the plan for Mandarin, to try and it'll do it slightly different than the way I did everything else, which doesn't seem to work.
Yeah. Well,
I got there eventually. The problem is I got there eventually. That's the snag. So I do think it's funny. There are people that learn a language in, I don't know, 8 months, enough to take a B2 examination and pass. Yeah. But then sometimes I think, well, I've seen lots of people take math exams and pass it, but can't actually, do long division.
Yeah.
So, especially without a calculator nowadays or your phone. So just knowing being good at tests isn't actually, for me, the criteria I want to meet. I want to be good at actually talking and speaking and reading, not writing so much, but everything else.
Yeah, and I think and we've talked about this, good or perfect being the enemy of good, where you don't want to have everything perfect to where you can pass a test, because that takes you in a route that is just not useful for what you want. You want to speak, and you would rather make mistakes speaking, here and there, but still being able to get your point across. As opposed to being perfect but rigid and kind of stuffy, I guess, and technical. Yeah.
Yeah, I had this I gave this example before. I don't know where. Well, I've done it a lot actually. But if somebody walked up to me and said, with perfect pronunciation and grammatically correct, "Excuse me, sir, could you tell me where the what?" And they don't know that word, right? Because they haven't focused on vocabulary. I can't help them. But then another person walks up to me and say, "You know me, show train station." "Oh yeah, man, it's just down here to the left, blah, blah, blah." So, the caveman talk will get you what you want. But what I've found is when you start out and you do the caveman talk, people will forgive you and they'll help you and everybody's happy. But when you get pretty good at it, then they get critical.
That's true.
And it's like, why don't you know the word for, pseudophilic hiatus? It's never come up and asked me, well, I don't know. But then they start to, you're actually getting pretty good at it when the natives start getting picky about your grammar.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I've noticed I do it with my sort of French partners. Like they'll say, I slept it in the hall. You slept. When I start picking on your grammar, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because by the time we got to the point where I have to focus on your grammar, everything else is, tickety boo.
Yeah, exactly. And those mistakes are just like few and far between, because everything else they say is usually really good.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really worry about grammar so much, but I'm not. I need to probably focus on it more now than I did before, but still don't like grammar books. I don't like grammar books in English, and I don't like them in any other language. Yeah, so.
Well, and I think something like a teach yourself course, or any number of these courses that are out there that are not too heavy with the grammar, Should I mean they should I mean you respond well to those, don't you? Or is it any kind of grammatical explanation? I mean, are you
I
more of
don't
a
mind grammatical explanations because you sort of need them in the beginning. And grammar, unlike learn like a child and all that bollocks, grammar helps you learn quicker. So I don't mind grammar that much. It's just like a grammar book, a book of grammar alone.
Okay.
Not really my thing. You know, use "and" before a word beginning with an A, or beginning with a vowel sound, or blah blah blah. It's like, I'm never going to remember that. Or the equivalent in French or Italian, I'm never going to remember that. And nobody gives a crap anyway. Like, they'll correct me when I'm wrong.
True, yeah. Well, and I think that's something that you can come back to later on once you have the rules down sort of innately. To some extent, or once you have enough experience with the language, you then can go back and say, oh, okay, like the and before a vowel or whatever. And French has a lot of these different rules with vowels and consonant combinations. Yeah,
I've noticed actually most more with Italian than French is sometimes I'll be talking in Italian and go, oh, that's not right.
Yeah.
No, it should be. No, that's future tense. I should be. And like my brain. I already said it. My brain went, no, you're wrong. Oh yeah, I'm wrong. Oh, that didn't, but it sort of came out and then after the fact. But it's happened to me more and more often now. So I think I'm now at the point where it's sort of self-correcting because I can hear my own mistakes.
Yeah.
I can hear like, that's not right. Like, an Italian person would never say that. Why have you said that? So that's good, I think, when you can get to the point where you can sort of know that you're making mistakes. Whereas before, when you're starting, like, I don't know, sounds all right, I think I sound like the Pimsleur guy.
Yeah. I'm saying words in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they mean, really.
And we do that in English a lot, where we'll say something, we'll go, oh, that doesn't sound quite right, and so, and we may not know the rule, but we know when something sounds off, especially when we are in, when if we're in a more formal setting and we want to sound more formal, we kind of know we can avoid the casual things that we get away with. So if you can do that with French,
the old y'alls and ain'ts and all that go by the wayside.
Me and him versus he and I.
Yeah.
So, so that's so you're on your way, kid. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's basically all I've been really doing. I got a whole load of other stuff I'm doing, not language related. I'm doing a podcast. Not just the one we do, but another one.
How's the autodidact going?
Yeah, so I'm on season 3 now. So I started. I'm like next week I'll do the 3rd episode of season 3. So this year I've decided to do, well, this season, my de-stupidification project. Because I forget everything nowadays, because like telephone numbers, I just put them in the phone. I don't remember them. I used to remember them, because you had to dial the, people probably don't remember the old dial phones. Even when the push button ones, you had to remember the number.
Exactly.
But I don't have to do that anymore. And it's really just, it just annoys me that I don't remember people's phone numbers. I don't have to, but it annoys me that I don't, or that my memory is sort of slipping a bit, because I could have remembered it before, but now I can't be bothered. Is probably a better way to do it, a better way to say it. But anyway, the podcast is going pretty good, and hopefully people listen to it. So.
Yeah. I've had to take a break from February until about last month. Life has been hectic and just really, really not leaving a lot of time for as much recreational stuff and fun things like that. So I've not been listening as of late, but I will be catching up with episodes soon. So
can you tell us what your super secret work is now?
Basically
before.
Well, yeah, I can't really give too many details. I'm a linguist working on a language called Digelma in Oregon. I'm working with a local tribe to bring back their language, and so right now I'm basically just piecing it together and trying to make it into conversational language, like a spoken language, where we have all the sentence structures and things like that. And I'm basically working with archived materials that that were created up to 100 years ago. There are no living speakers, no living speakers in the past 80 years, and so we just have a lot of gaps. And I'm really just trying to learn the grammar and create sentences and create modern sentences. So if I wanted to say, oh, I chucked my iPhone in the pudding, well, we don't have chucked or iPhone or pudding, and so we have to find ways to kind of fill in those gaps.
So basically, in that sentence, you have my.
Pretty much I, my, in. So yeah, so anyway, so it's a challenge because I'm working with tribal members with the language, and they come back and they say, well, how would you say it this way, or how do I say this sentence, or what does this mean? And it's fun. It's an archive revitalization project, which I really like. It's one of the things that I was involved with before with a language called Tunica, very marginally, but I learned a lot from that, and so I'm applying it to this. And it's just right now we don't have a lot out there because we want to keep it kind of within the tribe until we're ready to put something together. So and so this next year we'll be trying to establish what can be done, how much can be released to the public, and all that. So so it's just I'm not able to really promote too much publicly, but if you do a search for my name, you'll find that I'm the linguist for the Cow Creek band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians over here in Roseburg, Oregon. So so if you go to the Cow Creek Education website, you can find more, and that stuff is obviously public facing knowledge, so you can learn more about that. We do have some children's books that we put together and released. We have a couple more coming out. We do have an online dictionary. If you promise not to steal any of it, you can click through and look at some of the vocabulary. So yeah, but anyway,
do you do a dictionary as well?
Online. It's just an online word list right now.
Do you have a fake word in there?
No, actually we don't. We don't have any fake words yet.
Because I was watching this thing, and apparently a lot of the dictionaries, they have fake words in there, so that if you copy them, they know that. So if you took one from I don't know, Oxford dictionary from the University of Oxford, and then you republished it as Dave's Dictionary of English, and if they found this made up word in there, you're busted.
Interesting. That's fascinating. I've never heard of that, but I'll look into that. So
have a fake word.
Maybe we will. Yeah. I like it.
Who'd know?
Yeah. So, but anyway, so that's what I'm doing. And again, the contract will possibly end next year, and then it's on to the next big thing. So just really eliminating books, getting through everything that books and DVDs, and let me know if you want anything. And if you pay for postage, it's yours. And just mainly Spanish and Indonesian. So hopefully by the time we do our next video, I will have gotten rid of a bunch of DVDs and maybe a couple books. And then Indonesian, same thing. And you had mentioned, I think, Netflix. You were watching some subtitles on Netflix, and I found things with Indonesian subtitles, which is not as easy to come by over here. So Netflix and Amazon Prime Video have some things with Indonesian subtitles. So and a lot, not all of their stuff has a wide range, but if you
there's a trick that somebody told me that seemed to work for me, and then it's stopped for a bit, and I had to do it again. But basically, what I did was I went on to the website Netflix.com, and I logged in my account. And I changed my language to French.
Oh, okay.
And then I went on to the TV app, and it was defaulting everything to French. So every film was showing me French. Everything.
Oh, fantastic.
So then I stopped that because I didn't really understand what's happening. And then went back to the website and changed it back to English. But when I went into the subtitles, it would always show me French. If it was there, like I got more, like so for example, there was a show I wanted to watch. I was watching it, it was all English, blah blah, English, suck it up, there you go.
Yeah,
I changed it, and then it was like French, Spanish, da 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 da.
Okay.
Then I changed it back, and I went back, and it's still French and Spanish, and so the settings seemed to trigger something that said, oh, multilingual or whatever. And then after a while, that seemed to have gone away, and I had to do it again. But I don't know what sort of magic happens in in Netflix servers to make that happen. But have a go at that and see if you can change your default language to Spanish. And you're amazed how many more subtitles there are in Spanish than you think there are.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, well, Spanish, a lot of stuff comes up. I mean, like so much is in Spanish, but Indonesian is one that I had to do a search for Amazon Prime, and I found a number of things. So like Sound of Metal, which was an Amazon original, and it won an Academy Award. That one has subtitles in so many different languages. And then let me see. Where's my stuff? I'm actually going right now. And then I did just an online search for, I think Amazon Prime, Indonesian subtitles, and a number of things came up, including I think some actual Indonesian movies, but also let's see, Troop Zero, Rear Window I think may have that, Blow the Man Down. 7500, which is a movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and those have a bunch of these things have Indonesian subtitles. So doing that search helped me out. But I do want to try with Netflix. I will actually go into the account and see what I can find with changing my settings.
You can try adding the other thing you can do, which somebody else told me they did, because you can have, I don't know, I think it's like 4 or 5 people assigned to your Netflix account.
Yeah, like a family account with
yeah. So you make like a El Devo account, right? And you make the setting for that account everything in Spanish. So when you log into that, all of the interface will be in Spanish, all of the languages will be in Spanish. It'll default to giving you Spanish regardless. The default, subtitles and language, audio language will all be in Spanish. So I thought, well, that's a good idea, but all of mine are used up, so I can't really do it.
Okay, yeah, I have to check to see how many are available, but I'll take a look into that.
Yeah.
So,
cool. A few tips for our watchers.
Yeah, well, both of them. Okay.
Well, except for that ex-girlfriend of yours, she's left now, so now we only got the one.
Now we only have
the one with the belly trick.
Yeah. All right. So So next time I see you, this episode may be offensive to sensitive viewers. So okay. So next time we talk, probably maybe. So next time I want to get through more Indonesian and Spanish. I guess those are my only goals for now. But I may not see you for another year, so I should probably have loftier goals, depending.
Yeah, I love goals. I love goals. I love the whooshing sound they make as they go by.
As the ball goes by your head, there you go.
Yeah.
Score. So.
It's like deadlines. Gone.
So, well, cool. So, what is your plan for the next until the next time we meet?
Well, podcasting, YouTubing, reading,
okay,
and writing. I got to write. Got a few books are due that I haven't. Well, sorry, overdue.
Yeah, that's right. You've got what was your African book?
Oh, African Extinction.
Yeah.
So there's that one, and there's the other one, Italian Detente or something. I think it was.
Okay.
But, so I got another one of those to write, and then I'm writing a prequel for that series as well. And then I've also got I'm writing a proposal for a non-fiction book for a publisher. So that's going to be a while.
Cool. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. I'll get some actual revenue.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Excellent.
For a job.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. How's the job hunt, if you care to share?
Oh, it's ongoing. Ongoing. It's better now that COVID's pretty much finished. So people are back to hiring again and going into the office and all that. So yeah, things are picking up. So we'll see.
Cool.
We'll see.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna sign off. So,
all right.
But let's do this again soon. It's good to see you. It's fun to see you and not listen to you. So, by the way, for those of you who have not heard, part 1 of this, which was recorded in February, is being released as we speak on the podcast. So, you probably should have listened to that before watching this, but Yeah, and we will meet again for another one before too long.
Soon. All right. See you, Dave.
All right.
Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Rick.
Bye.
Good to see you. Bye.